Perhaps more people should know George Mcjunkin. It's a shame this guy's contributions to U.S. history have been forgotten. His incredible discovery arguably transformed the way we understand the development of the North American continent, yet he never got the credit for it. Hello viewers. In this video, we will talk about the historic discovery made by Cowboy, and we will share an unexpected explanation. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for regular updates. Let's get started. Mcjunkin was a black cowboy who roamed the northern parts of New Mexico toward the end of the 19th century and into the beginning of the 20th. He was an intellectual who taught himself to read and had many ranching skills. He was fascinated by the natural world and built a collection of artifacts he found through his jobs. Mcjunkin hunted buffalo across the Great Plains and worked on several farms before moving to Folsom, New Mexico, to manage the Crowfoot Ranch. One day in 1908, a massive flood hit Folsom, and as the head of his ranch, Mcjunkin had to get out there to see what the damage was. As he tended to his land, he noticed something intriguing. He didn't know it at the time, but he was about to make a discovery that would change our understanding of the U.S. forever. For the remaining 14 or so years of his life, he tried to show people what he had discovered. It would be half a decade after his death before the archaeological world took notice, but by then he wasn't around to receive the credit he deserved. The silver lining to this tale is that people are now finally beginning to appreciate Mcjunkin and his life, and what a life it was. He was born in Texas in 1851 and spent his early years in servitude. After the Civil War, he moved to New Mexico to live a free life. Mcjunkin quickly established himself as a cowboy, and a good one at that. Mcjunkin's adept skills as a cowboy meant he took on more and more responsibility, culminating in his being appointed the manager of a whole estate, the Crowfoot Ranch outside Folsom, where he would ultimately make a discovery to rewrite history. It all started in 1908, on August 27, when the weather took a dramatic turn for the worse with intense rainfall soaking the tiny settlement of Folsom. It got bad very quickly. It was the worst flood since records began, and newspaper reports from the period offer a vivid image of how horrible things were after the floodwater gushed through the streets, destroying homes and businesses. This was the context for Mcjunkin going out to survey his land following the catastrophic weather event. He needed to see how badly his ranch had been affected, so he and a friend named Bill Gordon went to check it out, and while they were doing so, Gordon noticed something. A new waterway had been formed in the land. Mcjunkin then took a low look at this fresh waterway. He'd ever encountered something strange was going on. Mcjunkin retrieved some of the bones and brought them home. Despite Mcjunkin's remarkably astute intuition, though, nobody took him very seriously. The cowboy failed to convince anyone to investigate where he found them. Mcjunkin sent letters to experts and showed them the bones he took from the site, but no one would listen. In a cruel twist of fate, it wasn't until half a year after Mcjunkin's death that his discovery was taken seriously. So this was Carl Schweigheim, who took a team along with him. And when they got there, these people couldn't believe what they were looking at. Sure enough, the site was home to giant bison bones. Matters continued to proceed slowly, though even after this team had visited the site, nothing much happened for a number of years. But then, in 1926, one of the crew convinced an expert at the Colorado Auto Museum of Natural History to come. At the site, that individual was J.D. Figgins, who instantly recognized the location's significance, along with a colleague named Harold Cook Figgins, who finally started a proper archaeological investigation of Mcjunkin's site. Before long, some important discoveries were made, and it emerged that Mcjunkin had been right all along. The bones he'd found belonged to an extinct species of bison, and not only that, but the remains of around 30 more of the animals were also found on the site. Figgins believed his crew was onto something major here. Researchers eager to find extinct animals resumed excavations. They weren't aware that this site held more than simply bison bones. It was considerably more important than that for a long time. The archaeological community was in broad agreement that the spearheads belonged to humans, and given that they'd been found alongside extinct bison bones, it was clear these people had been around a long time ago. As it soon became clear, they'd lived more than 11,000 years ago. Now, in the wake of the Folsom excavations, their claims were being vindicated, so the entire story of the Americas was rewritten as a result of what was found in Folsom. At the very least, it might well have taken the archaeological community far longer to get to grips with all this ancient American history. But he's still new enough to draw attention to the area, so surely he should get at least some credit. Yet when all the archaeologists were writing their academic articles about the site and its contents, Mcjunkin's name was never mentioned. A look at some of their political affiliations speaks volumes. The archaeologist and historian Stephen Inash wrote that Mcjunkin only appears in academic writing about 1946. Frank C. Hibben's book, The Lost Americans, inaccurately states that Mcjunkin unearthed the bison bones and spearheads in 1925. Mcjunkin actually died in 1922. New Mexico magazine later questioned the account. George Agugino, an archaeologist, investigated Mcjunkin's Folsom site discoveries for this paper. He consequently read a lot of material, but he also considered stories passed down through word of mouth. As these conflicting accounts illustrate, Mcjunkin's role in this story is quite muddled, and all this confusion has contributed to Mcjunkin being pushed to the margins. If the original archaeologists had actually written about him and explained his part in the tale, though, all this could have been avoided. At least now more people know his name and the role he played in writing ancient American history. As Stephen Nash pointed out in his article for Sapiens, the achievements of minorities are often overlooked in history. He wrote that, sadly, credit often goes to the powerful and connected, not to the people who actually do the work. Gender, race, and age discrimination often play a role in these narratives. Thus, Mcjunkin's story provides an opportunity to right certain historical wrongs. Nash believes we must convey the narrative of this man who made an earth-shattering discovery. That's it for today. What do you think about this incredible discovery? Let us know in the comments section. Please like and share our videos. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for regular updates.